If you want to start taking more payouts, you have to become more scalpy with your trades, not expecting a giant move and just taking one trade that runs all day. When you trade with my strategy, which is available for free on ASFX TV down below, you'll see the abundance of setups that present all morning, all afternoon, and every single day, especially even on the ugly days, you can still find clean entries along the VWAP. So let's just first go over the open here. The first 15 minutes of the day, that's these horizontal lines here. And our VWAP is just anchored from the 9:30 open. I want to be trading on the right side of it, so I got to be above it for longs and below it for short. Now, the one play would be the break above New York here. I actually liked it a little bit cleaner on NQ, so you can see that here. NQ had really not taken it too strongly, so you can get a nice entry bar when buyers are finally stepping back in. Stop loss at the bottom of range, take profit at the top of range. So why am I not holding this on longs forever? Well, if you look at the markup here of the actual trade, I'm looking to be scalpy with it. The entry strategy is mid-range entry, stop loss at the bottom. I have to get out on the first break of open range high. Sometimes it'll run, many times, more times than not, it will not run very far. So when you get out at the top of that candle, the most you leave on the table, 1 to 2 more minutes, not the end of the world, right? But look how good that 15-minute looks. It looks super bullish. It was a new high of day, pull back at the open. So another reason why we're not shorting it at the open. You can see here, we're bouncing off of the overnight VWAP in black, which is anchored to the 6 p.m. Eastern from this evening. And then you take over the New York VWAP, like I said, from today's open, go continue the trend that is bullish. So I think the trend is super bullish and we're above every VWAP, but still the entry and exit need to match up if I'm getting out at consistent levels, becoming scalpy with it. I just got 2 to 3 minutes of lift, hitting my take profit. That's all I need. I don't need to hang around for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, trying to squeeze out more. When you can see here, there wasn't more, despite it looking super bullish. So what you could even do after that, sellers take back control. You could scalp it down away from VWAP as well. Now, you're not going to catch this entire move, whether you're scalpy or not, because eventually it's going to pull back. So if you miss this trade, that's reasonable. But another thing to look at here is if you look at this markup on the short side of things, the first time sellers take control. Now, it's tough when we just looked at that 15 minutes saying that we're bullish. So it is pretty tough. But when you use these edge flow reports, the one specifically today, that midnight open price, that's this line here where we were at midnight. We opened pretty close underneath it, only 0.24%. So when we open above it, that distance, we go over here to edge flow. You can see when we open above it on NQ, 63% of the time, it moves back down to engage with that midnight price. So the fact that we opened above it so close like we did here, it looks super bullish on the higher time frame, but there is that 63% chance it might want to come down and engage that price. So that's how you could probably want to get yourself into the shorts here, but you wouldn't want to short it above here. When you're above every VWAP, you at least have to wait for a sign of sellers stepping in. Now, let's say you missed that because it's a tough trade, like I said, going against a 15-minute trend, but you do have a target below you. Let it make a new low, and then even pulls back to New York VWAP here on ES, and you find a nice short off the same VWAP that we're looking for prices at, right? The first long was here. Now we're looking for shorts because we're breaking below all those VWAPs now on that 15-minute, and now we're clearly below the New York here. But let it pull back. Don't just be chasing the drift lower here. It needs to be off of a key level. If you haven't seen my 25 days of trading series yet, I did it all month of December, 25 days in a row, that you'll see I need to be trading off the same key levels, the same VWAPs, the same stop loss placement, right? So my best trades come off of this New York price. So when we reject it, sellers clearly in control. I can get a stop loss well above. I can go look to trade the next leg down. I'd probably only mark it up to here. If I get 4 or 5 candles in the same direction that strongly towards this low of day, I'm out. I don't need to try to stretch it for this remaining piece and then it just kind of fizzles out, right? Become super scalpy with it. The worst thing that you could have done today is have these giant targets and giant expectations that you're long around New York, stop loss at the low, and you're just wanting this to rip higher. It gives you profits in 4 or 5 minutes to the high. That's where you're supposed to get out, but then it comes back around. Maybe you get a break even if you had your stop loss locked, or at worst, you'll lose. That just like, because you were unwilling to close it and become scalpy with it, knowing you could just get back in if it does want to come back higher, right? If you bag this win and it comes back to New York, bounces, why not just long it again? You can make more money there. Now, speaking of that long opportunity, again, all of this is broken down over here on ASFX TV. So if you use the link down below, you get your first month free. I did an update to Futures 2.0 here, and you'll see the bounce play versus the break right above my head. That the bounce play is a bounce off of New York. There's no bounce here. There could have been, right? I don't want you just buying it right when we get to New York because Evan says he loves that price. That's the great VWAP to be trading at. if we can respect it. If buyers show their hand and try to hold it, and then we'll long it when it's on its way back up. But notice how sellers just steamroll it. So do not get in front of that falling knife when there's no sign of buyers showing some strength, right? That's the key difference of we're seeing buyers take this VWAP. We're seeing sellers take this VWAP. We're not getting respected of it and bouncing off of it like over here. You're getting holds of it. Sellers are defending underneath it. Okay, great. I'm willing to now sell it back down. But if buyers just ripped it right through, don't just jump in a short because you're at that line. Wait to see it respected, all right? And then there's plenty of opportunities. It looked like a nice bullish day. We were right, but not for long. It flips to shorts. There's money to be made short, right? You could even trade that pullback back down to this low a day. It's not my favorite, but it is an opportunity. But I definitely think you need to either be in this short off of the New York VWAP or the long. If you've seen Futures 2.0, these are two viable entries, clean, great. This markup specifically, you can see how early in the day you would love the longs because you're stacked on every VWAP. You get a mid-range entry, volatility still in because of that open. All right, let's trade this back in trend. And then trend shifted. All right, but I made money on my long because I wasn't greedy for a giant move. If you saw my payout video, which is also part of that 25-day series, I traded it for 12 days, right? It took more than 12 calendar days, but only 12 trading days. I think like 3 of them are like break even. So like let's say 9 days worth of trading. But it was just very scalping, and I'm not showing off, but I didn't lose on the account on the day because if I was up 67 points here, I bagged it. I didn't let that 67 floating come back down to a break even or a loss, right? So I definitely could have had losers had I had a bigger target because I wasn't asking for too much. Just saying, give me a little rise here, give me a little break, give me a little bounce off this VWAP. I'll scalp some of the move. And so when I could see green and realize green, yeah, it's going to be tough to take my money from me because I'm already out of the market. It's tough for me to mistake or make a mistake because I'm already out, right? But when you're holding for a long time, chasing prices away, looking for these big moves, you'll obviously run into some losses, all right? So hope you guys found value in that. Hope you guys would tune into the streams. Like I said, first month free, and also check out the top 1 sale to start the year. They're 40% off right now, depending on when you're watching this. But you can copy trade 10 accounts. So if you want to copy trade 10 Ignite accounts, I have a YouTube video on what the Ignite accounts are, what the payouts are, the rules about them. So you can go find that on this page here as well. But definitely stock up. A great opportunity to scale if you want to trade 10, 8, 6, whatever you want, multiple accounts. So definitely check that out down below as well. I'll see you guys on stream tomorrow morning.